everybody, and welcome to Taking Control, the ADHD podcast on True Story FM. I'm Pete Wright, and I'm here with Nikki Kinzer.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Pete Wright.
How you doing? Feeling good?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm good. How's your new year?
New year is going great.
Have you set a bunch of resolutions? Because we're gonna trash them all today.
Nope. I did read an article, though, about vitamin D and the importance of vitamin D. And I did start taking vitamin D. But that has nothing to do with being in the new year. That has to do with me reading this article and saying, that's me, check. That's me, check. Thinking I probably need to get some more vitamin D in me. So
I'll bet that we are going to be able to find a tie-in with our conversation today and your vitamin D.
We might.
I feel pretty good about it. Before we dig into this conversation, all about how we handle our transition to new year, we just want you to learn a little bit more about the show. You can head over to takecontroladhd.com. You can get to know us a little bit better. You can lean in. You can listen to the show right there on the website or subscribe to our mailing list at takecontroladhd.com. We'll send you an email each week when every time a new episode's released. You can connect with us on Facebook or Instagram or Pinterest at Take Control ADHD. But to really connect with us, join us in the ADHD Discord community. Super easy to jump into the general community chat channel. Just visit takecontroladhd.com/Discord and you'll be whisked over to the general invitation and log in. And if you're looking for a little bit more, particularly if this show has ever touched you or helped you understand your relationship with ADHD in a new way, we invite you to support the show directly through Patreon. Patreon is listener-supported podcasting. With just a few dollars a month, you can help guarantee we continue to grow the show, add new features, and invest more heavily in our community. Visit patreon.com/the ADHD podcast to learn more. All right. Do we have any news?
Yes, we have some news, Pete Wright. I'm excited to share with the audience and let you guys know that we have a couple of coaching groups that we are going to be promoting here soon. You can go check them out at our website at takecontroladhd.com. Under our services, you will see a section there for group coaching. We are going to be doing our Overwhelmed with ADHD group again, which is a 6-week group that's going to be coming up. And we're also going to be doing a group with women and ADHD. So those are going to be on the site where you can put your name on our waiting list. And as soon as we have more information and more details, we will send an invite to you in your inbox.
That's right. And waitlist people find out first.
That's right.
They get the nod first. So make sure you get on that waitlist. Available right now. Okay. So we talk about the new year.
Yes.
Resolutions, Nikki Kinzer. We've talked about setting goals and stuff in the past. What's your current status on setting resolutions and goal setting and such?
You know, I've always said this. I'm not a big resolution person. I don't think it matters if it's January 1st or if it's, May 3rd. Yeah. Maybe May 3rd is when you want to, try something new. So I don't think the timing really makes much of a difference. I know that the new year, it brings that opportunity because it feels new. But really, come on, December 31st really does feel the same as January 1st. There isn't really a whole lot.
I guess. I guess that's true. I'm also not that big and I don't think much of resolutions because we know, all the data supports it. Like most people don't follow through with the resolutions that they set, right? It's just they say, I'm going to go to the gym, and by February 1st, nobody's going to the gym.
Right.
And I think that's that there are some people who are wired for resolutions and some people who just aren't. And I am historically not wired for resolution. So we'll talk a little bit about what kind of how I frame my transitions throughout the year later. But I was on Mastodon the other day and found this post that it really connected with me. And so I sent you and Melissa a screenshot to see what you thought. I'm just going to read it.
Sure.
Because it was a link to an article in the Washington Post, which we will also post, but I'll put the little screenshot in the show notes too. So each year, this is from Emily Landau at disabled.social on Mastodon. Each new year, I see posts on working harder, being tougher, going further. As a disabled person, I realize this hustle culture leaves no room to be gentle with ourselves. Lots of people set SMART goals, SMART, capital SMART goals. I came up with fun goals. Fun stands for flexible, uplifting, and numberless goals. If I change my mind, it's okay. If it doesn't feel right or bring me joy, I can stop. If I miss a day, there's always tomorrow. Grateful to the Washington Post for sharing my fun goals approach in this piece. And click through and you go visit Emily's article, and she outlines the components that go into setting fun goals and why she started documenting kind of how goals work for her. And I think, while she is writing from the perspective of somebody who's disabled and as a disability advocate and writer, I really find it on the neurodiversity spectrum. It feels like it really hit home for me too. So before I just kind of plow through, how did it hit you? What do you think?
I think the same. I mean, I feel like when you talk about joy and having joy in your goals, like that really resonates, right? We want that. We don't want it. It feels so much like it is a hard thing to change habits and to have these goals. But the way the expectations that we put ourselves around these resolutions, it just feels so negative. And
Yeah.
I like that she really spins that into being something that's a lot more positive and realistic.
Yeah, I think so too. And as much as I really, appreciate SMART goals, and we've talked about different kinds of goal setting methodologies, I think it's really important when you're looking for this kind of like maturing change in your life to find a methodology for you that works with sort of the spirit of kindness, like self-kindness and self-forgiveness. So what struck me first was Emily's reflection on hustle culture, right? That if you're not constantly striving for more success or for another thing that you're trying to accomplish or do, that you're somehow failing. And I feel like maybe it's because I'm getting older. You would know because you're older than me.
Thanks for that. That was a little dig.
I only have a couple of months and I'm living it up because my wife's doing the same thing to me.
I'm
so
sure
it's a real trickle down. For me, it's really about, one, I think about the assumptions of my youth. Right. My first big corporate job, I'm in my 20s and I'm really trying to figure out how to stand out and work harder and work later, longer days, longer nights, like really trying to figure that out. And when I was in sales, I was studying Zig Ziglar a lot. Zig Ziglar.
Right.
Grief. Right. So I want to beware of the assumptions of my earlier self because those don't really hold up for long-term health and forgiveness. And don't be too hasty in second-guessing the wisdom of others who have come before me. And I think when I was younger, I would dismiss a lot of the wisdom of my elders, right? But honestly, they came to those same conclusions that I am now coming to, in some cases earlier. And so I feel like I need to beware of my assumptions challenging worldview in terms of long-term health for myself. And the third one, and this is the one that I think is really hitting home with this piece, which is you just don't have to earn joy by experiencing hardship. It's not transactional. You can find ways to be happy and joyful without feeling a lot of pain first. You don't have to hurt to feel good unless you're in the gym, right? At some point, you're going to get sore when you do that, but that's not a good metaphor for anything else, right? And that I think is important. People use the metaphor of working out like, oh, my muscles hurt. That must mean I'm growing.
Gain,
no pain, no gain. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. That only works in a gym, right? You can find a way to navigate. I really believe this. Like we can choose to navigate in a way that finds joy. And we aren't so hard on ourselves. Does that
Yeah,
mean anything to you?
oh, it means so much to me, especially when you talk about success and tying it into this hustle culture, because I see this time and time again that for some reason you only find success if you check everything off on your to-do list. But
Mhm.
you never check everything off of your to-do list. So you never
Right.
feel success. And that is such a dangerous place because, um, first of all, you're not recognizing what you are doing and you're not, that you're just not even looking at it. You're just looking at everything that's left. So it's terrible for your own self-compassion and but if we can detach that you don't have to be hustling all the time to still be successful, and you don't have to earn joy by experiencing hardship. That's just really important to think about, like really to sit and think about what what am I setting myself up for when I'm looking at these expectations of myself? Like, am I looking to experience only hardship? And that's the only way that I can get it. Um, or is it, the success piece is the only way I can feel successful is if I get all of this stuff done? I
Mhm.
don't know. It definitely resonates for
Yeah,
sure.
I think so. And I think, so I figure let's just walk really quickly through Emily's,
Yeah,
she has these
they're
7
good.
kind of top sort of tools or sort of, I don't know, ideological bullets toward
Yeah,
fun
right,
goals that I really
right.
like. And I just want to see how they hit. And the first one is, I think, a direct transition off of that last point. Focus
Mhm,
on how you want to feel. This then focuses on how to find that feeling, right?
mhm,
So if you want to feel, if like the new year is a chance for you to just reflect on kind of how do I want to present in the world? I want to feel more connected to my family. I want to feel healthier, and I want to feel, like I'm growing, and that I'm, intellectually stimulated. Um, if you focus on those feelings, you'll be able to find the constituent elements that will get you there.
mhm,
Maybe you want to feel stronger when you get up in the morning. Well, that might imply that you actually go to the gym and get stronger.
mhm,
But you'll know when you've achieved it because you feel stronger when you get up in the
mhm.
morning, right? You don't have to
The
beat yourself
emphasis
up
is on
over
the feeling.
numbers. The
Yeah.
emphasis is on the feeling. The emphasis is on answering that question. I'm experiencing the world in one way. I wonder if there's another way I could experience in the world, and then determine how I get there. I mean, this is your vitamin D
You're right.
trip, right? At some point, you checked off a bunch of boxes that said, I'm feeling this way. And it turns out I might not have to feel this way. And one of the tools to get there is by amping up my vitamin D intake.
Mhm, mhm,
That's kind of
absolutely.
what we're talking about, right? We're not talking about some that the the standard medical advice is you should have X number of milligrams of vitamin D every day. The What we're saying is let's go ahead and see how we're feeling and see if we can improve how we're feeling,
Mhm, mhm.
knowing full well that the medical industry doesn't say you should take a lot of cocaine every day, because you shouldn't
Right.
do that if you want to feel more alert. But
No.
you get it.
Right, I get it, I get it. And I do like that. I like that you're focusing more on the feeling, and one of the things that struck me was if you're wanting to feel more connected with people, then, you
Hmm.
plan that once a month dinner with a friend, or you make sure you have a family dinner every night or every week, not every night. Um, but yeah, I think it's looking at it from just a different perspective. I just still, like with everything, we have to make sure that we're checking our ADHD and just making sure that our expectations are not, you know
Yeah.
overachievable. Like, I don't even know if that's a word. Can you still, can I do the vitamin D with just doing the vitamin D and not feel like I have to add a bunch of stuff to it? Right? That's where we want to kind of just make sure that we're not going outside of what we realistically can do.
Well, and I just, what does that mean? Adding a bunch of stuff to it, just so I'm
Because
clear.
I could see it going into add vitamin D, add 30 minutes of exercise, add
Yeah.
meditation in the morning, add a walk at lunch every single day, add
Yeah. I don't
clean
know what you're
eating.
talking about.
Like, it could go down a rabbit hole really
Yes.
fast. Why? Because I want to feel great.
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
to feel energized.
If this makes me feel good, then what if, right. But
I'm starting with
it,
the vitamin B or vitamin D pill. Like
yeah.
that I can do, and I've been doing. So I feel good about that.
Oh, what's funny though, and the reason I poke at that is because I heard a completely different thing. Where my brain went is like, I do vitamin D without adding a bunch of stuff to it, as in I commit that I want to try taking vitamin D because I think that's going to make me feel better. Let go of the fact that it's vitamin D. I'm using that as a continued example.
Right.
Can I do it without, how many alarms am I going to have to set in order to remind me to take vitamin D? And if I fail taking vitamin D because I miss an alarm or ignore an alarm, am I going to feel, therefore, like a failure as a person because of it? Because
Right.
that doesn't meet the need.
No, and you know what's so interesting that we're talking about this is that one of the things I did when I decided I wanted to start taking vitamin D is I thought about how am I going to remember to do it? And I know that it's different for me because I don't have ADHD. I do have a system though around this that I had
Mhm.
to think about. And I think that that's where it will help with other people with remembering this piece, right? Because taking medication is really easy to forget.
Mhm.
I do have this little routine that's part of my morning routine. It's the very last thing I do before I leave the bathroom is I get all of the pills. They're on my top drawer and I have all the pills that I need to take that morning and I put it on my cell phone and my iPad. And then when I move into my office, all of those pills go with me. And then when I go and I, get ready to work, I take all of those pills first thing in the morning
Yeah,
before I start working. So there
sure.
is this like I did think about how am I going to get this done? I'm going to attach it to something I know already works, and that's
Right.
how I'm going to get it done. So it is interesting. Like, I guess my point is that you can still you just have to think about where it's going to fit in to make it work so that you don't
Yeah.
have to like worry about the reminders
Yeah.
and all of that. Yeah.
And again, we're not talking about vitamin D. We're using
No.
vitamin D as a
It's
Mad
just
Lib fill in the blank for
totally.
anything you want to do. Like we know that this is not about vitamin D. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So, but it does lead us directly to the second point, which is don't set goals that drain you, right? Don't set
Yes.
goals that drain you. And I think that's maybe where I was going with the ADHD sort of cascading alarm stuff.
Right.
Um,
Right.
right? Which is like, oh, okay. So if I have too many alarms and reminders to do this thing that I just thought might give me a little bit of change in my life,
Is it
then
really
that's
worth it?
that's draining. Like,
Right.
how worth it is me? How worth it is it for me
Right.
to make this change? And
Hmm.
maybe it's medically necessary. Maybe I just want to feel better. Maybe I just think I would like to read more books. Like those anything like that, if it's causing me undue strain and wearing me out, just the act of doing it is wearing me out, it's not a good goal for you, right? Like
Right.
it's not ultimately a good goal. I still deal with the list of things in my life that I feel like I should be doing because it's who the guy I was 10 years ago was doing,
Mm.
or 20 years ago, or 30 years ago. Like this was a different me. And I don't
Right.
often enough do an assessment of who the me is now and
And what you need now and
work
what
toward
would,
filling those goals.
yeah.
And instead I'm just carrying this baggage of things that I should be doing. And we talk all about it. We talk all about it in terms of what's sort of in our head and heart and the cognitive load and the guilt and shoulds, can't do shoulds. That doesn't make them not exist.
Right.
It makes me
Right.
not think about them right now. But in the dark, late at night, when I'm trying to go to bed, I absolutely still think about them.
Yeah, yeah. I feel that way, and I see this a lot with clients too around like meditation. Meditation is such a good thing for us. We know this. We know it's been studied. It's good for ADHDers. You can meditate in your own way, right? But it's always this like there's always this I should be doing this, but I'm not, or it's so
Mm-hmm.
hard to do and I'm not doing it. And that feels like this fits into that a little bit. Like
Yeah.
it's a goal that I don't want it to drain me. So I need to rephrase it. Like I need to
Yeah.
reframe it in my mind on how I want to add this into my life without it feeling like a chore or feel like it's something I have to do. Where do I get to the point where I just want to do it? And
Yeah.
it is giving me the energy that I am craving. So
Yeah.
that's what resonated with that is and I have to think on that more. Like I think that there's more reflection there that has to be done about
Yeah.
why that might feel like a chore.
How about number 3, avoid resolutions with number goals?
I think this is hard in some respects, right? Because we're so number oriented. I'm going to lose
Mm-hmm.
20 pounds. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
exercise 30 minutes a day. I'm going to, like it's very easy to put a number in front of it. But I really like the idea because this is where she's talking about fun, which stands for flexible, uplifting, and numberless to guide her resolutions. And so it really goes back into reframing the conversation of, I want to add more movement in my life.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds a lot like healthier. Well, not healthier. I guess they're all healthy, but adding more movement in my life feels softer to me than exercising boot camp for 30 minutes
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
day. So I don't know. I mean, that it's, yeah, that's where I go with that. What do you think?
Well, I agree with you. And speaking specifically of fitness, I think there's a thing that I have to let go of and work toward letting go of, which is that, it's hard to rally around a gym regimen for me that isn't ego based, right? Because
Mhm.
it was when I was in my 20s, I would go
Sure.
to the gym. It absolutely was. And I have to let go of the fact that going to the gym is not about trying to look like Chris Evans, right?
Right.
Going to the gym is about living a long and healthy life. And there are a lot of other ways to get physical activity in my life that I might attach more meaning to and lead to the same outcome. And so I don't have to go for, I want to be able to lift a certain number of pounds. I don't need to go
No.
to lose a certain amount of weight specifically. In my case, I have to change the way I think about this element of my life because it's part of the instruction manual for being a human being. Movement is important. And
Mhm.
I understand
Mhm.
that. I understand. I can internalize that, right?
Mhm.
Movement is important for being alive. And as long as I
Mhm.
want to be alive, I need to move. It's a condition.
Yeah.
Um, so that's an important thing for me is just reframing like how does movement fit into my space?
I think that's a really good point. And in recent news, Lisa Marie Presley passed away
Yeah.
from a cardiac arrest. Um,
I'm not sure the details myself.
yeah, and I was reading the article about her, and then of course we had they were talking about how in women especially like heart disease and heart attacks are like the number one killer, and it really got me thinking about exercise and movement and my heart. So really disconnecting it away from weight and vanity to,
Yeah.
wait a minute, like this woman was only 54 years old,
Right.
and I don't know what her health history was or anything, but it was a little wake up call. Like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe I need to pay a little bit more attention to this. So I think it's less about the numbers and more again about how you want to feel and and being healthier, but not
Yeah.
necessarily tying a number to it. Yeah.
Well, I do the same thing with books every year I go through because I track everything on, these services. I've talked about Goodreads and Storygraph and these services. And at the end of the year, they tell you, here's how many books you read and all the things like how many pages, what was your longest book, what was your shortest book. And I like all that data, but
Hmm.
it's sneaky. Like you can't quite see it or at least for me, I can't quite see it until after it has happened when I have readjusted my expectation for the coming year around performance last year, which is okay.
Oh.
So last year I read 51 books. I guess I should read 52 this year.
Mm.
But
Wow.
that's bonkers. That's not
It
the
is.
point.
Yeah,
The point is,
exactly.
I enjoy stories. I should
Yeah.
read
You spent
fewer
time
books
doing
more
something you
deeply.
enjoy doing. So
Yeah,
that's
God
awesome.
for
Like,
God forbid.
that's the
Yeah,
success there.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I enjoy it, and I shouldn't I shouldn't have to, you
Put a
know,
number on it.
devour
Mm.
each book just so I can beat some ridiculous, like, my personal track record. Like,
Yeah.
that's not the reason I read. So
Right.
then what is the reason I read? I get joy out of it. It calms me down. I go to
Mhm.
sleep to it. Like, all of those reasons for me, like heart and head health, are more
Mhm.
important about why I spend time doing this thing. And so that should determine how I allocate my
Yeah.
time. Number 4, recognize your limits. Be honest with yourself about whether you truly have the time and energy to devote yourself to the goal while still giving your body time to rest or relax. What do you think?
I love this one because it reminds me of the spoon theory. How many
What's
spoons?
the spoon theory?
Remember, you're
Yes.
the one that told us that,
I
like,
know. I
how
like it when
many.
you talk to me about
Oh,
it.
oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember it exactly. So you're gonna have to fill in the gaps that I don't remember. Uh, but I remember, like, you have so many spoons per day, and like something will, maybe you have a full morning of meetings, and so that takes two of your spoons, and you only have two spoons left. And how do you want to use those spoons? And I just think it's such a great way to kind of like, you know, be flexible and around your boundaries and knowing that, okay, I really don't have any spoons left. Last week, I remember, and this is this is what reminded me of it. I had a long day, a lot of talking, a lot of listening, and I just told my husband when we were eating, God bless him for putting up with me, I don't want to talk. I have no more spoons left. And he looked at me and he's like, we have spoons. We just don't have
We have lots of
forks.
spoons, and he's yeah, right.
Because we're always losing forks. He's like, we have lots of spoons. I'm like, okay, yeah, no,
You
but
don't get
yeah,
it.
but that's so. I think it's so helpful though to be able to put a physical object to how I'm feeling. Like I have no more. I have nothing left. Let me just
Yeah.
like watch The Good Place and eat my dinner.
That's so funny. It reminds me, that's how we used to, my son, when he was very young and he didn't understand how cellular data was measured when you're on a cell phone, and that you
Oh
have a
yeah.
limited amount of, like, high speed data. That's less of a concern anymore, but it was a real thing because he went on a road trip with his grandparents and they dipped into Canada, and he was like streaming Netflix in the car in
Oh
Canada.
yeah.
And so we started, as he's young, and so the only thing he really knew about was pizza. So we started saying, okay, what happens when you eat the pizza? Like, eventually what's going to happen? You're going to run out of pizza. So data was pizza. And we still
Hmm.
to this day refer to limited resources as pizza.
As
Everything is
pizza.
pizza as well. And I think that also is true. Like, eventually you're going to run out of pizza.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and so I think that uh, for me, that's the important thing, because there are pizzas of many different sizes and flavors, and I can't, I don't have unlimited giant pizza. I can't eat all of
Right.
the pizza. I can't accomplish everything. Everything has to have a reason
Mhm.
to exist
Mhm.
in my life. And I think that's really, that's the thing to understand about my ADHD, is that I'm going to hit that limit
Yes.
in
Yes.
unpredictable ways, right?
Yes.
And something I may have a total handle on one day, maybe one week, maybe for a whole year, is going to destroy me on one random day. I just won't be
Right.
able to cope with it. There will be too many other signals, too much noise, and I'll just flag it and have to go eat crap and destroy my
Well,
body.
I
So,
think that this is
yeah,
where the expectations also come into play, right? Like it's recognizing your physical limits and mental limits, but it's also saying, I don't have to have every hour mean I have to do something or, you know, take a task off or of my list, or I have to do this, I have to do that. It's okay to have that downtime and be able to rest and relax and not expect all of this from yourself, because your brain needs to rest.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes us to number 5. Make a resolution. Go ahead and make a resolution to do less.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Make a resolution
Yeah.
to slow down.
I really like this too, because it goes back to the burnout conversation that we had with Casey Dixon a couple months ago. And I think that, one of the biggest takeaways I had in that conversation was burnout. The solution to burnout is not taking a vacation, and it's not keeping your life the same. It is having to let go of something. You have to let go of something, and
Yeah.
you need to add space in your life, not to fill it with something else, but to just be free. I really, that really has stuck with me. And I think that that's where I went when I read this. Is it's okay to do less. It's okay to slow down. Being busy
Yeah.
all the time isn't necessarily where you want to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and there's this axiom, right? That the length it takes you to, the amount of time it takes you to do any particular task will fill to the amount of time available to you to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So unconstrained time leads to unrestrained task.
Right.
And I think that it can apply generally in ADHD, but I don't think it'll apply forever, because I
Mm-hmm.
run into this. At the end of the day, I'm rescheduling tasks that I thought I was going to be able to get done, and I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't get them done for any number of reasons. Maybe it was real life reasons like introduction, or maybe it was brain reasons like
Right.
ADHD. I just couldn't get my way around it. But to resolve to do less on any given day, to plan my day by taking out one thing, just one thing each day, like doing a time decleanse.
Yeah.
I think, and I haven't really tested this, but my hunch is eventually you'll run into the balance of number of things you can accomplish on any given day. My sense is eventually we can get there. Eventually we
Mm-hmm.
can find time. But part of the problem, part of the reason that I get tied up and time blind is because I have so many things on the task that my brain just gets dizzy and
Yeah.
can't really focus on. It's like way too big of an elephant to even possibly conceptualize eating, let alone see
Yeah.
what shape it is, right? It's like
Well,
it's way
because
too big. And so yeah,
you never get to the point where it's good enough. Like, it's never
yeah,
good enough. Like, I always have to
right.
do more than, or if I didn't do what I thought and I only got a halfway through, it's not good enough. And it's like, if we can just figure out, like, it's okay to do less and to have that be good enough, and
Yeah.
that you don't have the resources to finish it today. And that's okay. You
Yeah.
didn't fail.
And recognizing that I don't have the resources to finish everything means explicitly that I'm going to push things for future days, and
You're
that also is going to
human.
be okay.
You're
Yeah.
not a robot.
Yeah.
You're not
Um,
a production robot. You're
yeah.
human.
I do
So,
think that the other side of that is it leads to kind of how I've been thinking about the year, my year for a number of years now, which is around themes, which is around
mhm,
this sort of yearly theme. And one of my themes some time ago was I wanted to conscientiously approach things I feel strongly about, right?
mhm.
It was have fewer strong opinions about things, because so many
I
things
remember you talking
in
about
my
that.
life, yeah, they just didn't matter. I was getting
Yeah.
up in arms because it was important for me for some reason to be up in arms about stuff that just didn't matter. And so I really would stop, and somebody would ask me a question. I would say, I don't have a strong feeling about that.
You did it to me all the time, and I loved
Yeah.
it, because it was really good, because from my point of view, when you said that, I'm like, okay, he really doesn't have a strong feeling about it. But when you do have a really strong feeling about
Yeah.
it, then it's
Right.
like,
You'll know it.
then we need to talk about it. Like, this needs to be talked about then. But it was actually such a clear
Yeah.
way of communicating. Like,
Yeah.
okay, great. And then it made me think, like, do I really care about this? Maybe I don't really care about this. Maybe it's okay if we just let this go. You know?
Totally.
So,
And you know what? You are not the only person to say that. Like, that has
yeah,
been a real appreciable change. When you
yeah,
tell people what you don't care about, they tend to listen more astutely when you
yes.
do. And that
so
matters.
true.
That matters. Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love
So
that. Well, that
true.
is a great reflection. I really appreciate that. So that's
Yeah.
kind of the thing. Like make a resolution to do less or to feel less strongly about the things that are giving you trouble, because maybe it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Maybe it
Maybe it doesn't.
doesn't. That's
Yeah.
right. That's
Anyway,
right.
number 6, view failure as an opportunity to reset. Yeah.
I like this because it also goes into the growth mindset, right? We talk about growth mindset on the show. We've talked about fixed mindset. And that growth mindset is really saying, bring on the failure. It's all a learning opportunity. It's all
Yeah.
information that I'm gathering. It doesn't mean anything. And I think it's good to just be open to it and not worry about it. If it, don't be
Yeah.
attached to the outcome.
Yeah. Right. Right. I like this, and I feel like viewing failure as an opportunity to reset is the sort of implied opposite is don't view failure as an opportunity to give up. Right. And
Oh, say that
that
again.
don't view failure as an opportunity to give up.
Oh, that's really good.
Well, I maybe it is. It's one of those things that it's like attached itself to me. That this whole idea that, you know, and it pairs nicely with the her last point in this list, which is spoiler: know that you can always quit,
Yeah.
but not every failure is an opportunity to quit. Right? Not everything that you don't do successfully one day is an opportunity not to try it all the next day. The stuff
Well,
might matter to you. It might matter even if you
yeah.
don't do it successfully. I've been having this conversation with my son about just working toward something, right? Picking a discipline and studying it to the point of expertise and what that means to really be good at something and then feel the success of doing it
Mhm.
well. That is a beautiful feeling in life to have that. And it doesn't happen every day to everyone. Uh,
No. Oh my gosh, my mind is just spinning on this because I see so many different ways it can go because you think about, not letting it be a reason to quit. When people get to that level of expertise, it's because they've hit their heads on lots of walls and they kept going,
that's
right?
right.
You don't just get there overnight because they didn't quit. They kept going and they kept figuring out how to do things different or whatever, right? And so you're right. I'm just thinking in the sense of if you try a new system and it doesn't work, it don't let that stop you from trying something different or just tweaking it a little bit so that so it does work for you. Like there is this like fine balance between quitting because you really just don't care anymore. Like this, know
Yes.
that you can always quit, right? Give yourself permission to change your mind because at the beginning of the year, you may have had these really ambitious goals. And then February comes and you're like, yeah, I'm kind of changing my mind. Maybe not all of them have to happen at once. Like, let's change that focus. But no, it's just a really interesting thing that you've said that really does make you kind of sit and think about you want to be open to the opportunity and to grow and what that looks like um and when is it
And
okay to quit.
recognize that yeah, some days you might not achieve what you thought you would. Right.
Yeah,
And
it's given,
that's
right?
okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Huh,
But
interesting.
if you give yourself an excuse to quit, then you won't come back the next day and
No,
try it
no.
again and
And
see
then
what
the
it feels
limiting
like to feel
beliefs
good
start
about
to
it.
come in. That's where I was
Yeah.
going to go with that. That was the other
Right.
thing that was spinning in my head is now all these limiting beliefs are coming back and holding you hostage almost. Because now they're
Yeah.
telling you you can't do this. You shouldn't try
Right.
anymore. It's not worth
Right.
it. But is that true? Like, and so now you have to have that conversation of is this a limiting belief? What is this trying to protect me from? I still want
Right.
this. So I don't
Yeah.
want to quit. Like, yeah, very interesting. Good stuff.
I guess in kind of wrapping it up, one of the reasons I reflected on this particular post was a really personal one, which is that I feel like I have made the last 15, 16 years of my career, 17 years of my career, picking up and doing the things that I find joyful. Like I quit a corporate job where I was like doing something for a big company and I was a cog, but I was in a good place, making good money, having benefits and retiring, all that stuff. I quit because I wanted to push more buttons, right? I wanted to take more pictures and record more podcasts and be in front of the microphone. Like those were the things that gave me joy. And that felt like a bold thing at the time. And it's funny to me, reflecting on this list, it's funny and maybe a little sad about just how many times I find I am frustrated with the work because it's the work. Like I've forgotten that I quit my work job to find joy and be with my kids and drive carpools and all those things. And I made choices, and that comes with some really explicit sacrifices. And I made those choices because I wanted more joy and warmth and growth in my life. And I find at this time of year in particular, it's really easy to lose track of the decisions that 16 years ago Pete made that set me up to be here today, that set me up to be here to be able to make more choices and find more joy. Like I am more than so many others, so privileged to be able to make choices that in the work that I do to find joy. It is damned selfish of me not to do that. Right. Yeah. It's like, it's not right not to take advantage of what I've been spending the last decade and a half building
and doing so well at.
Well, maybe sometimes not. Like it happens. It's like any other job, right?
We've all tried stuff. And
we've all tried stuff, and it doesn't work. But it's joyful. Like it's like remembering something we talk about all the time is. It is joyful to be able to do this, and you don't always have to have numbers associated with it and goals and SMART goals and everything to determine your level of success at the thing. It can literally just be good for you. It can just be good in your world.
Agree. Yep, absolutely.
That's it.
All right. This is great. Thank you, Pete, for bringing this to our attention.
Well, I hope so. And, if you're interested, I don't know if you've heard, Twitter's a nightmarescape. I'm at Pete Wright at mastodon.social. If you want to see where I find fun stuff now, it's awesome over there. And so there you go. That's all I've got. Check out that GPS or check out the open coaching, group coaching. Got to check out the group coaching on the website. Just get your name on the wait list. Don't forget. That's all.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Thank you, Nikki. And thank you, everybody. We appreciate you for downloading and listening to this show. Thank you for your time and your attention. And don't forget, if you have something to contribute to the conversation, we're heading over to the Show Talk channel and our Discord server, and you can join us right there by becoming a supporting member at the deluxe level. On behalf of Nikki Kinzer, I'm Pete Wright, and we'll see you next week right here on Taking Control, the ADHD podcast.